Hello, I'm going through one way to make your bench quickly. So you're going to go here under SketchUp to create new. And first thing I want you to do is create a reference volume that's going to give you the overall size of your bench. So make sure you're on the right axis here, type in 2 feet. Remember that feet is the apostrophe, hit enter. Come this way, type in 6 feet, hit enter. This way, 2 feet, hit enter, and close that up. So this is now the base footprint of my bench. Yours might be different. Make it whatever measurements it needs to be. Next, I'm going to use my push-pull tool to bring this up to the height of my bench. So I'm going to say that my bench is 18 inches tall. So here is my reference volume. Okay, now that I have this set in place, I want to change my view so that it's an X-ray so that I can see a little bit better. Over here under Styles, I'm going to click over here where it says Browse, go to Default Styles, and click on X-ray. That's going to allow me to see through my model. I now am going to click and drag so that I highlight my entire volume, right-click, and hit Make Group. Okay, so now that I have my reference volume, I need to make the actual layers that compose my stacked bench. I'm going to make my layer 1 first. So I grab my line tool. I'm going to use the endpoints of my bench seat to give me the length of that. I know that my 2x4 is going to be 3.5 inches wide. So I'm going to type 3.5, bring that down. Then I'm going to come straight across, make sure it's red so that I know it's straight. And then I'm going to close my shape. So now I should have a closed shape here. I'm going to use my push-pull tool and push it towards me 1.5 inches. That is the depth of my 2x4. I now select the whole thing, right click, and here I'm going to make component. For some of you, it makes sense to make group. The way a group works is that each group is independent, so the pieces are together, but if I make copies of them, they're all independent pieces. With a component, if I make a copy of this, so for example, if I make a copy of this and then I go in and I change one of them, it's going to change both of them at the same time. So because my bench is very repetitive, I'm going to keep these components as components that I'm able to change my layers later if I need to. Okay, so here's my first layer. Now I need to draw my second layer. So my second layer is very simple. It's just 2 verticals. So I'm going to grab my pencil tool again, come out this way, 3.5 inches, come straight down, close that up. Same thing on the other side. Come down, come over 3.5 inches, come straight up. And I actually want to have a little back on here, so I'm going to give another 12 inches for the back. Come straight over and see how that blue line shows me it's aligned. I'm going to close up my shape. Okay, it looks like this shape, great. So now both of these I'm going to pull 1.5 inches the other way. So I'm going to pull this 1.5 inches this way. So type in 1.5 inches. Same thing here, pull this 1.5 inches. Okay. I noticed that I made a little extra line here. I'm going to delete that little extra line. Let's come around. Is that a little extra line? Okay, so now that's looking better. All right, so my second layer, I'm going to make a component. I click, I drag to select both of those. I can hit Shift and click on my other group so that it doesn't become part of it. And I'm going to right click, hit Make Component, and hit OK. So both of these, I'm going to make a component together. So I'm going to right click on these, click on Make Component, hit OK. So now I have this group that I can repeat, or this component that I can repeat. So to copy it over the length of my bench, I'm going to click on the Move tool. I'm going to click from this endpoint, so this very corner, over to, let me try that one more time. So I click on my Move tool, I hit Control on my keyboard, so that toggles it so that it's now copying. And I'll click from this endpoint over to this other endpoint. Before I do anything else, I'm going to just type on your keyboard 25x, and then hit Enter. And that's going to repeat it for me. You'll notice that I'm a little bit past the end of my bench, so I'm going to delete this last group. And And then this group, I'm actually going to right click and explode it. And I'm going to delete out the last piece so that I can end on a horizontal on both sides. As the last thing, I'm going to delete this volume, and that gives me my bench. I now am going to save my file. Probably should have done that earlier. So I'm going to give it a name. Then I would like you to go here, download this as an SKP file, hit OK. Purging all is fine for this. And then if I show this in folder, this is the file I want you to upload to Google Classroom. Thank you.